Hey everybody, it's Susan from the Social Sales Girls, and I'm here with Veronica, who owns Vintage Meet Modern, and it's one of the coolest businesses you'll ever see, I think. Veronica actually curates an amazing collection of vintage costume jewelry, and she resells it. And why I thought her story is going to be really interesting for you all is she's been very successful on Etsy for many years, right, Veronica? Yes.
Yeah, and before Etsy, eBay.
Oh, and eBay
Mhm.
first. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So you know all the platforms. But, she knew that she had to get onto her own e-commerce platform to really gain control and make the kind of profit that she wants to make in her business. But when she moved over to Shopify, she quickly realized that it is not the same. It's very different. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what her challenges were and how she overcame them. Because here's the thing, she couldn't stop working on Etsy, and she's crazy busy. She has 3 kids. So, and a lot of laundry, probably, I'm imagining. Yes.
And a lot of dishes.
A lot of dishes. Yeah, I get it. I get it. So really, Veronica, tell me what your business was like before you started working with us.
Well, this has been a long journey for me. This isn't something that I just started doing. I had worked in personal shopping, I had worked in personal styling, and I had worked in jewelry and accessories since I was right out the door in college. I was lucky because it was something that I was passionate about. So it continued to help me move forward in understanding that there definitely was a market for this. There definitely was women that wanted it. And I understood that my style was similar to a lot of the things that I learned in the retail marketplace, but that I could put my own spin on it and I could connect with customers. So before I started my Shopify journey, I started on eBay and I sold on eBay very successfully. Why I left eBay was you could never have any control at all of being able to provide a better customer experience other than your screen name. And that really drove me crazy because we would have these wonderful conversations with customers, and the only way that they could then have a more personal relationship with us was by the handwritten thank you note or the information that I had put in their package on how that they could connect with me afterwards. So that led me to being like, there has to be a better way. And at that point, I was not even ready to have my own website. So then I was already part of an online selling community where other people would talk about their platforms that they would sell on. Believe it or not, there's like an entire vintage world called Got Vintage. That's like a group like even that you do. It's a seller support system for vintage and
Oh,
antique
very
sellers.
cool. Yeah.
And many people sold on Etsy. And they said the great thing about Etsy is you can be a lot more personal. So like you can't email your customers, but you could send them a message. You could send them extra pictures if you had another piece of something that went along with it. You could reach back out to them. And that was way more of the experience that I wanted because I understood that that was working with my customers.
Right.
However, the next step came along again. And what we even learned from that was Etsy still had a lot of rules that you could maybe bend a little but it was severely frowned upon to break them. And some of them were things like you can't have your own email list. There's no way to attach a blog. There's no way to attach letting your customers know that you were going to be in an event selling or those types of things and stuff. And so I spent many nights laying awake with thousands of pieces of jewelry in my inventory.
All around you.
Right, exactly. And then literally like all over. My husband is a minimalist. So I would lay awake thinking, how am I going to provide a better shopping experience unless I have my own standalone site? And I am very busy and I do pride myself from a completely business perspective. I'm good at a lot of things. I'm good at merchandising, researching, profit. I am not a tech person. So we started out on this road of trying to go down the road of buying a WordPress theme. And I spent $1,000 of my own money and I never did anything with it. I didn't understand domain names. I didn't understand hosting. I didn't understand plugins. I understood nothing except how to put things in a template the way that I did on Etsy and on eBay And I knew that I was having success in working with that. So I figured there has got to be some form of template-like experience out there, but you could still customize. And that is how I learned about Shopify. And that is the Shopify road that I've gone down. But it's been a long one.
So you had sales on Etsy, but Shopify was a different animal you found when you got it set up?
A completely different animal. And I would say for me, I would say the biggest thing was not understanding how lucky this sounds weird. Because I love being on Shopify, so don't take this personally when I talk about, because I hear other people say, oh, Etsy, they take all these fees and they do this. Do you understand how lucky you are? When you land on Etsy, you pay a certain amount of money and you are on a platform where people are automatically searching for you. So with any amount of luck and hard work, you are going to get sales. When you start on your own site, I thought it would be very easy to nurture my customers over to Shopify. It was not.
Right.
I had no idea, even though I had all this great product, great stories, great feedback, knew that we would sell tons in person on other platforms through other people and things like that. I had no idea that I would really have to come up with a marketing and a visibility plan.
Yes, you do.
Have something that would actually work. And going along with that, and like I said, I don't want to ramble. There are so many different ways to come up with visibility plans. And there are so many different ways to coming up with marketing plans. And I feel like for a very long time, and you've known me for a long time, I've only really gotten even more serious about figuring this out since I would say the last 9 months after our last holiday season. It wasn't because we had a bad or a good holiday season on Etsy, but I really see the value of providing a better experience that I can on Shopify.
Right.
But it's been a struggle to figure out what works.
Yeah. And so how did that make you feel? Were you just feeling like it was overwhelming, that you didn't have the time to find the audience, or were you feeling like it was a puzzle you couldn't solve?
A little bit of all of the above. Okay. I mean, for one thing that I learned, I felt like I had a very good handle on my profit margin and what I could afford to spend, but that would only be if I was actually selling product. So I really struggled with trying to figure out, are we putting the cart before the horse or the horse between the cart, or before the cart, in terms of trying to figure out how we were going to get visibility up so we could sell some product, so we could do an even better job of being visible. And I will say, of all of the programs and of all of the people that we've talked to, this group is the only group, the social sales girls, that made me feel that it was okay to sell a more unique product.
Interesting.
Because I learned very quickly that online business is online business, and it's retail, and there are people who literally don't care what you sell. They could care less about whether or not you are paying for visibility in magazines or Facebook ads or Google AdWords or something like that. And it doesn't matter whether, I think you even said so yourself, selling branded baked potatoes or you're selling one-of-a-kind artwork. And I felt like when I was in those groups, those people were just chasing numbers and chasing clicks. And I didn't even necessarily feel that they were passionate about their product. But when I came into this group, there were two things that I knew that I wanted to spend some time. And even though I have a lot to say, I watch and I absorb a lot more from others. This was the one group that I saw so many small business owners that were passionate about what they were selling.
Sure.
And it didn't matter whether they were a one-person team or a 5-person team. I thought to myself, every single one of these people own this business like it's a part of themselves.
Yeah. Rely on it.
Yeah,
for sure. So tell me, you joined us. I think I've known you for more than a year, for sure. You joined us and you've participated in our programs. But tell me, what happened since you joined us? Because you have an amazing audience now. And so tell me about what happened to your business once you started doing some of the things that we talk about.
Well, we started seeing sales.
Yay.
We started seeing sales, but I think more than anything, we've learned the importance and the value of investing your time as the person that owns your own
Yeah.
business to figure out where your clients are going to hang out and how you're going to reach them.
So when you came to us, what kind of Facebook following did you have?
We had, I think it was around 2,800 people, and we had set a personal goal. This is going to really blow you away. I'm very goal oriented, actually, and we had set a personal goal of maybe hitting 3,000 followers by the end of the year, and that was last August.
Yes, and now?
We're over 21,000.
I know.
21,590 something. Like we're pretty much teetering on. We have blown away my expectations in terms of the.
And so what is it that, was it just the fact that you kind of got the secret sauce that, it was okay to speak to your audience, and through Traffic Boot Camp and the Inner Circle, we showed you how to find your audience? Yeah.
But I would even say that because I still struggle sometimes with like making sure that we feel like we're really reaching people. But I would say the biggest thing are the tiny nuggets of wisdom that you just collect along the way. And you actually can't believe how easy they are.
I know.
Didn't even know they exist.
I think it's part of the, so for me, I think it's part of the eliminating a lot of the noise around business. Like everybody tells you all these things you have to do. And as it turns out, would you agree that you don't have to do all those things? You just have to figure out what works for you.
Correct. And for somebody who is easily distracted by sparkly objects,
yeah.
Sometimes the best thing that you can do is just try to execute one tiny little thing at a time instead of trying to take things on. I think that it's really great to have a bigger picture and to know where you want to go. I think that's always going to ground you towards reaching the next milestone.
Yep.
Sometimes you really just have to get up and do that one tiny little thing consistently over and over and over again. And in our case, I will admit, we got very lucky. We put it into plan and the snowball just started rolling. But now we do it. Now we do it every day.
Yeah. And I think you figured out what your people want. So tell me, if we hadn't met, where do you think you would be?
Oh, I can tell you very honestly, like I said, I am a planner and I'm very much into my business and everything. My husband and I actually last year when we turned our Shopify shop on unofficially of March of last year. And in June, we actually told people that we had a standalone website. And we said last June that if we had felt like we were still struggling and spending as much time and energy and everything else as we had and not getting any sales or any traction or any information, that we said in June of this year, we were just going to shut it down.
Oh, wow. You're so far from shutting it down. It's not funny.
Right.
Tell me how you feel. Like, how are you feeling about the future? I know how I feel about your future, but tell me how you.
I'm a dreamer. So, I feel really excited, but that's the thing, like, positive things and positive results and things like that are all a result of you trying to attract that in. So I do feel really good about where I'm going with things. And I feel like a year from now.
I can't wait to talk then again.
It's funny because I come from a family of entrepreneurs and we have, so we kind of geek out like once a quarter and we talk about like what kind of investments. And it doesn't necessarily even have to be financial. It can be like time commitments, things that we've been doing and things like that. I can tell you time and time again, some of the 3 simple things that I learned from Social Sales Girls versus the hundreds of things that I've learned from hanging out in other entrepreneurial groups from my own. I used to have a business coach. I had a business coach even when I first met you and things like that. Some of these things we have seen the biggest return on our investment. Anything that we've ever done in all the years that I've been doing this online.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I hope you inspire people because we see all the time people coming from Amazon or Etsy or even eBay, and then they're just stunned that it's nobody's
Yeah,
coming to their website. But there is a way, and actually, once you figure it out, I think your sales on Shopify will surpass your Etsy sales.
that is the goal. And
That's the goal.
I will say the important thing is that if you want to make that leap, surround yourself with other product based people that understand the kind of commitment that you're going to make that's different than the kind of commitment that you had on Etsy. It's not
Interesting.
easy having a foot in both camps,
Right.
but you can really learn from what the strengths and the weaknesses of were on one side
Yeah.
and the strengths and the weaknesses on the other side. And once you can begin to do them together, you'll see that famous word that they always say. You'll begin to see the pivot.
Oh, wonderful. Well, listen, thank you so much. I know you're getting ready for a vacation, so
Yep.
I'm going to end it here, but I really appreciate it. I think you've helped a lot of people understand that it can be done and not to throw up their hands yet, because there is hope that you can do it. So have a great vacation, and we'll see you
Thank
when you
you.
get back. Thanks.
Thanks.